Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Awakening Wednesday. I am absolutely so happy to hear and experience you this evening. This evening, we are talking about spiritual community. Reverend Kevin has been talking about this arising and awakening and coming together all month, as this is kind of like the holy month of holy months, and this week is truly anchoring in so many different spiritual teachings and rituals that it is a time for us to get quiet, to go within, and to be rebirth, reborn. So with that, let's just take this moment to settle in. To settle into the absolute truth that spiritual community is a powerful, magnificent place that can inspire, that can irritate, that can agitate, that can uplift, that can spark curiosity, that can heal, that can show love, that can share love, joy, and peace. So let us take this breath and breathe into this moment all of the infinite possibilities that spiritual community is. And recognizing, whether we realize it or not, we are in a spiritual community called this world, this planet, this universe, this world. How great it is to know that we are all here on a quest, on an awakening, on a journey. So we bless our brothers and sisters. We bless Russia and Ukraine for the awakening of peace in every spirit and soul right here and now. And that peace is within us as we hold this space of peace and love for all. We bless our brothers and sisters here in America as we grow to understand what equality is in a world that we have not known. And we bless that we can take this journey together in communion. So take the breath with me. Rest in this knowingness. As we breathe into this moment, knowing that all that there is. We'll have the music now. My mind is opening, opening. My mind is opening, opening. I am opening. every day your life. Our life is opening, opening. Our life is opening, opening. We are, I am, you are, we are opening. So take that into your space, into your heart. We are opening in this moment right now. Opening to a new existence, a new way of being, a new expression. We are opening. Ooh, yeah. Yes, yes. I'm open, you're open. I'm ready for this opening. So, I have a little video for you. And my request is to just take a moment and to center yourself even deeper as we take this journey for spiritual community. That was nice. I don't know if this, am I on? Mic 2? Great. That was nice. It was nice to be present to that short, brief moment of a video. But sometimes that's all it takes. And tonight, we are talking about spiritual community. You know, as Reverend Kevin has been talking all this month about coming home, about connection, it made me think, is spiritual community important? Do we really need it? What's the big whoopla? I remember some years ago, a young whippersnapper, my mom asked me, Gino, are you going to church? Now, you must understand that my mother wasn't like a all-day church person. I was raised Catholic, but we did go to church. She had her Bible. My grandmother, very Baptist, had her Bible, her sisters. And so when she asked me that question, I said, Mama, no, you know what? I believe in God. I know that God is good, all this blah, blah, blah. And I'll never forget what she said to me. She said, it's great to know that you know God, but sometimes you have to be around other people that know God, because when you lose your way, when you doubt your way, when you're not clear about your way, or when you're afraid, then you have people that will be able to show you your way. I was like, mind blown. Because my mother wasn't the type that was, very religious or very spiritual. In the sense, when I say that, my aunt was, oh, Jesus, thank you very much, all the time. That was not my mother's way. And so I realized her connection with God was much deeper than I realized. And my first thought was, she's trying to tell me what to do. You know, I was in my 20s, and everything my mother would suggest, she's trying to tell me what to do. Yum, 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 yum. But it was a few months after that that I needed to have that community. I needed to have that connection. And I understood what she was talking about, the importance of being connected in a community that can support and surround you, that you can grow, that you can have your fallouts and temper tantrums and still go back the next week, you know. And of course, spiritual communities are human communities. And so the human level consciousness absolutely runs, I believe, through all spiritual communities. But there's also this deep, grounded essence of our sages, of our people that have a spiritual commitment beyond, that hold a space, that hold this intention that we can be a temper tantrum baby, we can be in fear, we can lose our sense of being, but still be loved and have someone or a place that can help guide you on your way. And so that was really amazing when I was like, oh my God, my mother's right. Beautiful. So as Kevin has been talking about coming home and our spiritual connection, it has really given me great food for thought that I've had people question some of the things that we are doing in our spiritual community and using the conversation that that's not what a spiritual community is for. And so this was like, ooh, this is exciting to see where this will take me. So as I started doing some background work on this, they talk about our ancestors, the Homo sapiens, that they are saying that they were the first ones to kind of create some type of spiritual connection. And it was done through food. I was like, wow, that makes perfect sense. That they would go out and kill whatever and bring it back to what wasn't considered a city, a town, a tribe. It was a place. And they would share with all, because understanding how food would make everyone feel much better. I mean, it was just this simple thinking that eating food, being able to have some food would make you feel better. And so in that, you would be more engaged in participating in what was needed for everyone. I was like, wow, how beautiful is that? The core, I always believe that the core expression of life is always simplicity. I know I tend to muck it up and make it really crazy sometimes. So listen to this. Where did spirituality come from? The word spirituality comes from the Latin words spiritus, which literally means breath, signifying life. How cool is that? I was one of those kids that I went through this phase and I was like, Mama, why is an orange an orange? Why can't an orange be an apple? Why can't a grape be an apple? And it used to drive her crazy. But it's so profound when you think that there are things that were on purpose, it was an alignment. So to know that there was a meaning of a word, of an expression, of a beingness, before we even understood the power of it. The most important thing we have is this gift of life. In it then follows that we have this amazing gift of life, then we all have a way that it is being manifested through us. We all have a way that it is being manifested through us. I think that's so powerful because that takes off any limitation of where religion, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, how religion came in to, and this is my opinion, to control, to dominate one's thinking, to control a community, to put fear and intimidation a lot of times into people. But spirituality came from the Latin word spiritus, which means breath. The very breath that we take. As I was sitting with that in meditation, it made me feel this connection with a universal presence and not something out there, that in every breath I take, I am spiritually connected with you. And you are spiritually connected with me. That we are the breath of life, and every breath that we take, we're celebrating that. We're reaffirming that. We're grounding that in a sense and awareness that says, you're manifesting life in and through you. I am manifesting life in and through me. There's no conflict in that. There's no struggle. There's no right or wrong. There is this divine expression of life that's being expressed by everyone. Such a beautiful sense of freedom, because I realize spiritual communities provide an amazing opportunity. You know, throughout time, churches, religion, whatever, the mosques, temples, have all been a place for people to come together, to connect, to remember who they are. And many times, a lot of times, it is also done with food. It is done with food for us to break bread together, to sit together and recognize the oneness. I love eating Ethiopian food because I love that you use your hands. And the very first time I ate Ethiopian food and sitting in the family style, I was like, where's the fork? Where's the knife? Where's the spoon to scoop things out? What, you know, everybody's hands just going to be in everything? Westerner. But as I relaxed, and the naan, to be able to dip, and you have your little bowl, and to create this harmony, I felt a connection with food that I'd never felt before. And it was, I was so excited. I, was sharing with some of my friends, and they're like, oh, that's just nasty. Everybody's hands is in the same thing, and that's just nasty. And those are the things that, as I have grown, I've learned that keep us separate from connecting sometimes on a greater level with such ease and grace. To sit with someone else and to eat from a bowl, to share without having some utensil be in the way. One of the most beautiful things. Spiritual community. It's almost impossible impossible to sit and eat with someone like that and have hate in your heart. There is something about that connection of breaking down with you and the food and the touching and sometimes your hands may hit one another. That there's a connection, there's an energy that takes place. Our ancestors understood the power of spiritual community. It wasn't called that at that time, but it was understood. It was understood that in order for us to survive in this world, in this land, in this city, in this state where animals dominated the world. So, there wasn't a Vons or, a Ralph's. There were no grocery stores. So the husband, or if the husband had died, the wife, you had to go hunt. Now, later there became some general stores, but initially, everyone had to hunt. They had to partake. They had to be about the business of going out there to have food. And so to understand that if you go out on this journey where you're sitting waiting for a deer or an antelope, you hear something in the bushes ruffling. You can't see it, but you hear it. It could be a lion. It could be a bear. Your mortality, it's so much more present, so much more instant. And then to have a kill and to bring it back and to share that was one of the highest forms of spiritual community. To share what you have with someone else. What spiritual community means. In other words, spiritual community exists not only to support us and make things easier, but to challenge us, to push us forward, and to help us see one of the primary truths of reality, of oneness. What a powerful thing. Our spiritual communities are being called on right now at a higher level than they've ever been before. And finally, I feel that we have grown up a great sense to understand that we must answer this call. Not to have the answer, but to have an opening place where the communication, the opportunity can be made available. Spiritual community is also here to push us forward. Excuse me. We're being called right now to be pushed forward in ways that we never have before. I'm sorry, just something went down the wrong pipe. Don't worry, I'm okay. To push us forward. Make things easier. To create a space. And here's one of the awakenings as we've grown with spirituality. Initially it was just the people that look like you, sound like you, talk like you, walk like you. That was the clan. That was the spiritual community. And then lo and behold, someone outside of what you look like, how you talk, outside of your experiences, was now thrust into. And so it's taken us centuries to grow up to understand that This is for all. The universe is in here talking. I love it. Al, thank you, Al. Al is the sound man tonight. He just saw it. I mean, it's like the universe is busy in here. Ooh. And so, as we have been growing to acknowledge, to open our hearts, to open our homes, to open our minds, our spiritual community has been this space that has helped us do this, that has helped create an opportunity for us to be able to connect with people that we don't know, to be able to conversate with someone that comes from an entirely different background than where we come from. But to know that one of the common denominators that we have is what? The breath. And that breath signifies the life. And so that's our common bond, that whomever has the breath, and the breath, it not only comes from us human beings. Animals have the breath, plants have the breath, vegetables, fruits, they all have the breath. It's different than how we experience it, but the breath of life is unfolding in everything. And so we see that this spiritual community has been holding us, preparing us to be able to stand next to someone that you may not know, you may not like their views, but you do know that you have the breath in common. And as long as we have that, we have life, we have a spiritual community. So, if you find yourself at home, struggling to connect, afraid to express what you feel, or afraid to hear what someone else is expressing or feeling, remember the most important thing in spiritual community is to recognize the oneness of spirit, to recognize that we are all one, to recognize that there is not anyone or anything that does this thing called life without us, without all that is. And so spiritual community is so important. And if you don't have a divine space, if you are maybe challenged with the space that you're in now, take the breath and recognize that this is not something working against you. This spiritual community is working for you. It is an opportunity to push you out of the cocoon that has kept you locked. It is an opportunity to move forward. Life doesn't move forward without us. One of the most magnificent things about life is that it is eternal. At least that's my belief. And so in being eternal, it has to constantly keep evolving. So we're evolving at a rapid rate right now, unlike any other time. Technology has afforded this space that the lines have been really smeared. We can find out information at the speed of light almost now. So having a spiritual community, it's so much more than going to church. Recently, I was in Phoenix, and I befriended a young man there that just a really great spirit, a beautiful presence. And since then, we have engaged in each other's lives. And I remember sharing with another friend of ours that was there as well, that he's willing to participate. You see, you have to do your part as well. You can be as spiritual as you want on an island by yourself. But to create community in your heart and your spirit, to be able to commune with others that maybe don't think like you, don't talk like you, don't look like you, don't sound like you. That's a heart space that's open to receive. And so he's very much engaged. I love that. We text, we call. He has a little dog I'm crazy about called Jackson. I would almost steal Jackson. That's how much I'm crazy about him. But I know his papa would miss him. So if you find yourself feeling that you are without a spiritual community, that you are without a connection, or if you're in a spiritual community and you feel as though they've gone left and you want to go right, this is not the time to leave your spiritual community. This is a time to ground yourself in the breath and ask, what is yours to do? What can you bring to this spiritual community to expand, to grow, to embrace, to uplift? One of the easiest things to do on the surface is to leave and run. To say that someone doesn't understand, they don't know me, they don't like me. It's so easy to do that. But spiritual communities are requiring each of us and every one of us to do the work. To do the work. How did the idea of religion start? Well, there are many different theories, of course. But two of the most widely cited ideas of how early humans interacted with their natural environment. How they're connecting that a religion started because of individuals connecting in their natural environment. That because of going out to hunt for food, for life, that there was a connection that they all shared. I thought that was really very powerful. And he shares a little story. He says, picture this. You're a human being living many thousands of years ago. These are our great, 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 great ancestors, where maybe fire had just been discovered. You're out on the plains, sitting around, waiting for an antelope to walk by so you can kill it for dinner. All of a sudden, that's the spirit calling right there. That's just the spirit calling. All of a sudden, you see the grass in front of you rustling. What do? Do you stop and think about what might be causing that? I mentioned that. Do you stop and think, is that a lion in there? Is there something? What's your action to do? So the action that you're involved in is to kill or be killed, to survive, and to share that survival with all. I did not equate religion or spirituality in that manner, but it makes perfect sense because man at that time, great hunters really love and appreciate what they hunt. It is a sense of absolute appreciation, of love, of gratitude, and a lot of a lot of rituals have been created to honor that which gives what? Life. That which gives life. So it's not, it was not for sport. It was an appreciation of the animal that was sharing its life in order to keep life moving on, in order to keep expanding life for us to be where we are right now. Many have given in this spiritual community for us to be where we are right now. And in order for this community to move forward, we must open up at the top. Not what used to be yesterday, but to open up our minds, our hearts, our consciousness, to participate at a level of awareness that you've never done before. Spiritual community, we are calling each of us to do more than we've ever done. And one of the things I know that I truly believe is that we can. The world is asking of us to move spiritual community further than we ever have before. And this isn't a job that we do by ourselves. Now, we all, I feel, may find things that we believe in, that we can participate in, that we can give back to our community. That is so fantastic. Sometimes with spiritual community, people are so afraid to do something that they do nothing. I've been baptized, I think 3 or 4 times. As a kid, my mom had me baptized. When I came out to California to go to school, I got baptized because I was with this family and wanted that connection. And they went to a Methodist church, and I was like, okay, I'm in. It's a church. And my hunger for spirit was always one that I had, even as a kid, my own relationship. I didn't fully understand the relationship, but I had this relationship with spirit that at times I felt, well, I don't really have to share it because I got it, so I'm good. But I have learned that without spiritual community, that has pushed me, that has helped me grow, that has called me sometimes to things that I didn't think that I could do or that I wanted to do. Reverend Kevin sometimes asks you to volunteer. You be like, I don't want to do it. And then he sees you afterwards. He goes, hey, you go, yeah, okay, I'll do it. And you find out that it's one of the most amazing things that you can do or that you've done. Spiritual community. In 2022, what does spiritual community look like for you? Our ancestors, they started the journey. They started the conversation. They opened what was possible. All of the new settlers that came, and if we're talking about all of it, the settlers or the slaves, there was spiritual community within all of those different groups that fed each other, fed strength, fed hope, possibility, fed a new tomorrow. So as we look this week, is this Holy Week, think about what spiritual community is for you. How can you engage yourself in a greater expression of spiritual community? Knowing that it has a place, that it is filled with infinite possibilities, and that you have been called. One of the ways, Easter, we're welcoming everyone back for Easter. So if you're seeing this tonight, or if you see it tomorrow, and even if you see it after Easter, we are welcoming you back into spiritual community. We are welcoming you home. And for that home celebration, we're having a party. Our Easter brunch that will take place after the gathering is going to be fantastic, with a DJ and dancing and what people coming together to eat. There'll be great food to eat, to laugh, to create memories. One of my dear sisters always says to me, it's an opportunity for us to create more memories together. So, as we recognize that spiritual community literally means breath, life, that without it, there would be no sense of connection with a higher presence. Some would have it, but the isolation sometimes would make you feel so alone. So if you haven't been out, you're thinking about it. If you're looking for some connection, if you have a friend that you know that's looking for connection, invite them. Invite them to a spiritual community that's growing, that's expanding, that's expressing life. We are a divine breath of the infinite. We are all that life is, bursting through us. So I'm happy to be a part of a spiritual community. I often think about those words that my mom said to me, because it does really mean a lot to have that connection. And yes, growth a lot of times creates fear, irritation, laughter, peace. Knowing that you are supported. It doesn't mean that everyone's going to like who you are or what you like. But in a spiritual community, you are the breath of life, and that is the connection. That is the connection, to be able to sit across from someone that you don't know, someone that doesn't look like you, someone that doesn't sound like you, and someone that does not have your background, and be able to listen and be able to share. So I thank you for this evening, for this space, for this time, to be a part of spiritual community with me. Next week, I'm excited. We have a beautiful guest that will be in the house, Shari's Closet, and hopefully she and her daughter will be here, but she will be here for sure to explain her journey and her spiritual community of what she created through clothing. There is no limit to the divine expression, and the ideals of the divine expression have no limit. So let's take this moment, and in a few minutes, I'm going to play that brief meditation video again. And I just want to get you prepared. Get ready. It's only about 2 minutes. But in 2 minutes, we can even take what we have been through, what we have been embraced in, and we can take it even deeper. So join me. That was nice. That was nice. So this is our beautiful conscious giving time. I have to say to our amazing community, Universal Spirit Center, you are absolutely amazing in your loving givingness, in your volunteering, in your support in every capacity, in going to classes, in creating new opportunities. You are amazing. I thank you, thank you, thank you. Those are many ways that you can give at Universal Spirit Center. I want to share with you some of the things that we have going on that are happening right now. And we also have a QR code that I forgot to put that up here. But know that it's normally always there on a Sunday. It's an easy way, the QR code, you just hit it with your phone and it takes you to our PayPal page. So we thank you for your giving this. I'll make sure that I put it up while the slides are taking place, so you'll have that opportunity. So let me share with you some of the things that we're doing this Friday, Good Friday. Good Friday. The Rev and Linda and I will be here. It's going to be such a beautiful ceremony. It's a releasing ceremony. What a great way to prepare for Easter. So we're going to have a releasing ceremony, let go of the old and welcome in the new. How cool is that? Also, as you know, or you should know by now, Easter is coming, Easter is coming, Easter is coming, and it's our welcome back to the center, welcome back to your spiritual community, welcome back to your commitment to stand with us as we take this expanded, beautiful journey. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody come Easter Sunday, and we'll have an amazing Easter brunch afterwards. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I am looking forward to it. Also, we have wonderful, our Reverend Sherry Ganon has created a Sage ministry. And so on the 20th of April, they're going to Carlsbad to flower with the fields. How beautiful is that? And there are many things that Reverend Sherry is doing with the Sage Wisdom. I know they have a annual Wednesday morning Zoom. If you have any questions, contact Reverend Sherry Ganon at universalspiritcenter.org or info@universalspiritcenter.org. And that is all for right now. So, I want to thank you again for being here with me, for being part of the spiritual community that always says yes. As I said, next week we will have a guest for Kitchen Conversations. I'm looking forward to exploring that with you and taking that journey through Shari's closet. How great is that? So let's take the breath. Let's enjoy. Happy, hoppy, almost Easter. Bring a friend, bring the kids, come on out. We're going to have a great time. I look forward to seeing you there. Peace and blessings.